You
Okay,
were totally fine. Thank you for having me.
absolutely. Okay, so first of all, I'm just going to say I was on Alita Lankford's Mindset Power Hour last week, which I know she does regularly. How often does she do those?
We do those Monday through Friday.
I mean, that's insane. And
Yeah, every morning.
here's what really piqued my interest. When I think she said something like, or if she was praying or she was speaking and she said, or if you're like my friend Latoya, who walked away from Plexus for 4 years and came back and is now an emerald. And it was like, bing, a flag went off my head. I was like, that is a story that I want to hear. And I think I reached out to you pretty immediately.
Yeah.
I love it. So I want to jump in and just give you a chance, because this is our first time to meet. Just if you're on the
Yeah.
team and you're joining us, this is my first time to meet Latoya and vice versa. So tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we're going to jump into to you sharing your journey.
Yeah, so my name is Latoya Lackey, and I live in Nashville, Tennessee, right outside Nashville. And me and my husband have been married for 27 years here in a couple of weeks. Super excited. Got married at 17, had my son at 20. So I live in Tennessee, but, wasn't, that way when I got married. Anyway, most people are always like, okay, exactly how old were you when you got married? Yes, we've been married 27 years. We have one son. He will be 24 in September, and he just got married last October to an amazing, beautiful woman, and they have a dog, a golden doodle named Sweet Tata, and she's precious. And we're youth pastors for 10 years, and I was in and out of corporate world. I worked for Carnegie training for 15 years, and did ministry and went back to Carnegie and ministry and back and forth. And and then Plexus came in and kind of ended up here. And this is where I'm at right now. So
Yeah, so I want to hear the first part of your Plexus journey. What got you into Plexus? What was that first season like? Tell us about that.
absolutely. So I actually had left Carnegie for one of the times I left Carnegie. So I left because my husband had opened a commercial garage. He is a mechanic, and he had opened a commercial garage. And so I said, well, I'm going to come help you run your office, because if I have to do your books with you doing your books, we will not stay married. It's not going to happen. So I was like, I'm going to come do that. So I was working in his office, and Alita had called me on my phone. She and I were best friends. And I was not answering the phone, of course. And she loaded up all of her children into her Suburban and drove to my shop and came in the door with the baby on her hip and goes, I'm working right now, obviously. And she said, well, I need to talk to you. And I'm like, well, what's up? And she's like, we're going into business together. And I said, do you not see me running a business right now? I'm already working 50, 60 hours a week. Do you not see me being busy? And she said, no, seriously, we're doing, we're going to sell health supplements and vitamins and stuff. And I'm like, what? And so just so you know, I don't know if you know Alita's story. She at the time was homesteading. She did cheese classes. I was the exact opposite. I owned a microwave and didn't know how to cook, and like we're total opposites. So as far as the products went, when she said she had researched them, she had been on the phone with customer service, she had asked all kinds of questions, she had done all of that. I took her word at it because I didn't know any of the words that she was talking to me. It was, Chinese coming out of her mouth when she would say, the ingredients and things. I'm like, okay, whatever. If you say they're good, I get it. I said, well, tell me why. And she said, well, she's like, I've been watching my friend, Jennifer Leith. They were in homeschool co-op together. And she said, I've been watching her. I've watched her lose weight, and I watched her go from not making money to making like $30,000 a month at the time. And my exact words to her were, is it legal? And will Jesus still love us? Were my exact words to her, because I'm like, that sounds way too good to be true. What is this? And so I actually had done, back when my son was little, I had done like makeup and candles, things like that, just to stay at home with him. So I was familiar with network marketing in a way. And I immediately came out the gate with I'm not investing a bunch of money. I'm not doing inventory. I'm not doing parties. I'm not delivering. I'm not being locked into a contract. She overcame every single objection standing right there. And I said, well, how much is it to get started? And at the time, I think it was the $30, for the sign up and then your welcome pack and everything. So I'm like, okay, I can spend that and not even have to tell my husband what I've done. Just order it for me, whatever. At the time, she didn't realize, but I had been taking naps in my car at lunch. I was exhausted. I was overweight. I mean, she knew I was overweight. Obviously, you could tell that, but I was exhausted. And what she didn't know was that in the back of my mind, I had missed making my own money because I had come out of corporate world. I'd come out of my own job to go and help my husband with his business. And I was kind of losing my own identity, in that, because here I was in his world and helping his business. And I was the secretary, at the front of a mechanic shop all of a sudden. And, I had left my corporate. Wow. Sorry. It just like really thundered really loudly here. I just, had left all of that. And so in the back of my mind, I had already been kind of thinking about, gee, it would be nice to have something that was mine as far as a side gig. So we left and went on vacation. After I ordered the products, my stomach got so bloated on vacation because I did not go to the bathroom regularly. Actually, my stomach got out past my chest. I had a woman ask me how my baby was. I was so not pregnant. That is not the thing you want to hear while you're on vacation in the Caribbean. So as I'm crying on the tour bus, my husband's like, I'm sorry. I don't know what to do. I'm so sorry, and I was like, I don't know. So I was like, I hope whatever Alita ordered for me is going to work. And so when I got back, I started taking the products. And of course, like many of you, I started having more energy. I wasn't taking naps anymore. My husband used to tell me all the time, he said, if you could make money for napping, we would be millionaires, because I would just nap all the time. So, I quit napping. I started losing inches, and my before and during picture, the first 4 or 5 months of me on Plexus is out there quite a bit. And it's interesting, that picture, because it's like 5 pictures in one, and it's only 5 pounds of weight loss. But I went down a size and a half in clothes because I had so much inflammation on my body and so much build up and back up in my body. And so to become regular for me, I mean, people kept asking me, what did you change about your skin regimen? And I'm like, nothing. I don't even wash my face at the time. I do now. But, it's just like, what did you change in your face? And I'm like, nothing. And I realized my body was getting clean from the inside out. So I was getting that glow that we all have. And, everything started to change. And so I immediately began to tell people and share. And I bought the products from my mom. She had a tremendous health testimony. She had polymyalgia rheumatica, which is like a fibromyalgia, but it gets into your joints instead of your muscles. So she had tremendous testimony. And then I began to look at the comp plan because, again, I was business minded. And so as I saw the comp plan, and this was 7 years ago, so it's even better now for you newbies, but 7 years ago, I was like, you're kidding me. We can make money as wide as we want. We get paid 7 layers deep. There's compression. There was all of these things that stood out to me in our comp plan. And I told Alita, I'm like, girl, this is a gold mine. This is amazing. And so we began to build and to share. And we had a girl on my team do Fast Start Gold, which back then, I think she was the first person, either the first or second person on Jen Lee's team ever to do Fast Start Gold at the time, because it was so difficult to do back then because you didn't get points. And anyway, somebody can explain it to you. It was a little bit harder than it is now. So we were running and going. Everything was amazing. Alita earned Leaders Retreat right away to go to DC that year. And she said, I'm not going by myself. You and Lisa, who are her first 2 level ones there. She said, y'all are going with me. And so we said, okay, we didn't even know what Leaders Retreat was that year. And I had to get 18 people. Me and Lisa both had to get 18 people in 7 days for Leaders Retreat that year. And we did it. We got together, we prayed, we set timers on our phone to pray wherever we were. At 9 o'clock every night, we would stop what we were doing and we would just stop and pray. And we just went after it. We had sip and sees. We were meeting people at Panera Panera. We were doing everything we could think of. And we made Leaders Retreat. We all went to DC with our husbands. And that was our first big Plexus experience. And then after we got back that next summer, within just a few months, Alita's husband, Floyd, passed away. And he, of course, was one of our best friends as well. And so just a few months after that, my dad got sick and then he passed away. And then I went down just pretty much a deep, dark path after that, Becky, just to be honest with you. People started promoting up because we all rallied behind Alita, of course. And so there were some other people on our team. And so she promoted up, everybody's promoting up. And I was stuck at senior gold, I felt, and it just never went anywhere. It didn't matter. That's what I felt like. I didn't matter how hard I tried, no matter what I did, it was not moving. Every month I was setting the goal for Ruby and I would come short. Every month I would set the goal and I would come short. And finally I just said, you know what, this is not a good headspace for me to be. It was getting to where I couldn't cheer my friends on and I couldn't be happy for them. And I wasn't happy with the person that I was becoming. So I prayed about it and I decided to go. At the time I had already left my husband's shop because I was doing Plex. I was like, I'm all in with Plexus. And then all of that happened. And so I was glad I was at home to be there for Alita and to be there for my family with my dad passing. But then I said, I'm going to go back to work for, a little bit and go find me again. And so I went back to Dale Carnegie and stayed there for a year.
Can I interrupt for just a second?
Yeah.
Because this is so easy. So often, we tell, because I know you're not the part that you just described, you're not there right now, and we're getting to the good stuff. But I feel like if we miss the hard stuff, then we miss the whole point of the call. So do you care if I just dig in with you for just a minute and take you back? Alita's husband, Floyd, has passed away, which her whole team did rally. I remember that happening and you guys all rallied, but then you suffered, which was a tragedy for you, right? Her losing her husband was awful for her, but it also was a tragedy for you personally on a different level. And then to lose your dad right afterwards. And you said that was just a really dark time. So will you tell me what it was like for you emotionally to be an entrepreneur and to be responsible for recruiting people and leading them during a dark time? Like, just give me a couple emotion words that you were going through back then.
Well, honestly, I think during, I have to say this, and this probably isn't the answer that you're looking for, but honestly, I think I stayed there for 4 years.
Yeah, I get it.
I don't think I came out of that because what happens when you face disappointment, and you guys know this, what happens when you face disappointment is you have that little voice on the inside, that little nagging voice on your shoulder, right? That's like, I know you couldn't do this. I told you it wasn't going to work. Things like this are for other people. They're not for you. You're not really a leader. You're not really, you start having all of those little things happen. And then the evidence you think that you're seeing is supporting that. And it's like, man, if I was a good leader, I would be ranking up. If I was a good leader, I would know how to develop somebody past silver. And, you start to have these battles in your head. And the whole time, I don't know how many times Alita told me that, and she still says this, sometimes she'll still bring it up to me, she's like, but she said, as soon as I joined Plexus, she said, the very first thing Floyd said to me was, go get Latoya. Out of everybody we know, Latoya will be a diamond, like, go get her. And here I was, the last one ranking up.
And that
but
right
I was
there,
on paper.
You.
Oh, it messes with you big time, because on paper, I mean, you line up my work experience, my resume, my personality, you line it all up, not that we're in a comparison game, but let's just be real. We're all humans. You line it up. I was the one that should have been doing the things, and I wasn't doing the things. So then it's like, well, am I an imposter? Am I a fraud? Am I really real? So on top of that, I had this other thing happening because in Dale Carnegie, so I don't have my 4-year degree. Okay. So I barely graduated high school. I've worked incredibly hard for everything I've ever had. And in Dale Carnegie, here I was feeling like an imposter over there as well, because you are not allowed to be a Dale Carnegie instructor without a 4-year degree, which totally makes sense, obviously. However, I had been with them for so long. I was a corporate salesperson for them. So here I was meeting with some of the top executives in Nashville, top CEOs in Nashville, telling them how to run their businesses and lead their teams, selling them these huge classes and going in and doing 2-hour workshops and things like that. I was speaking for the Nashville Business Journal and doing all of these things, but I didn't have the credentials to be an actual Dale Carnegie instructor. And so here I am sitting with CEOs thinking, dear God, please don't ask me where I went to college, because I'm going to have to tell you I didn't, so I've got that thing. So like, there's all of this imposter syndrome going on, and then here we are in a business where anybody can do this. And they're telling me anybody can do it. And here I can't do it again.
I love your vulnerability. I want to point out one thing too, is I see a common thread between your story, my story, and probably a lot of people on this call. And that is when we have insecurity, right? Which every human does. Every human has insecurity somewhere. And we try to battle it by like covering it up with something. So when you said, on paper, I should have been like ranking up. I cannot tell you how many times I've thought that. Our stories are different, but I have had to realize that this idea of I should be doing better than I am is such a trip, like it's a tripwire for me. I will get stuck behind that feeling of where I should be, especially in comparison to others. So I really relate to that. Okay, so you make a decision for yourself. I'm going to go back to work. I'm going to leave Plexus for a while. And how do you deal with that? Do you talk to your team? Do you talk to Alita? How does that play out in your life?
So I never quit taking my products, and I never stopped making money. Thank you, residual income. I do want to say that because I had built a really strong, high retention, senior gold business. So I can say that I did make money all 4 years that I was gone, and I always took my products. I did eventually have drop off, because if you're not putting water in the bathtub, water's going out of the bathtub, right? So we did actually, I did have a drop off eventually. But yeah, I pretty much, I just told them, I was like, I've got to step away. Like, it's not a good brain space for me. And I let them know, it's like, it's not anybody's fault. This is an amazing company. It's an amazing opportunity, and it's working for a lot of people. And I hope that it works one day for me. Right now is just not the time, for whatever reason. Hindsight's always 2020, right? I don't know that it was the right time. I don't know the right time for my marriage. I don't know the right time for me back 4 years ago. So I left, and even when I went back to Dale Carnegie, because said I wouldn't go anywhere else to work but there. So I went back to Dale Carnegie, and and I told my boss, when I interviewed back with her, I said, I may just be back for a year. I don't know. But I said, honestly, I just need to find me again. And I know that this will help me to do that. And I told her, I said, this is the only reason I'm coming back to work. I don't need to be here. It's the only reason I'm here. And so she helped me to do that. And she really pushed me, and I really appreciate that. And then the Lord opened the door for me to go and do full-time ministry, which was always my dream. So I actually ended up, doing that for several years. And then we had another big life change, and my stepdad passed away. And this was a year ago, January. And right as my stepdad passed away, I had been introduced back into the Plexus family in kind of a weird way through virtual assistants and things like that. And so actually, began to look at the comp plan again and began to look at what's going on over at Plexus, because while I was gone these 4 years, every single person, all of my friends that we all started Plexus with the 4 years before had all ranked up. Every single one of them were jewels. And I'm like, okay, not a one of them was not a jewel. And the couple that weren't jewels yet were gems. They were already rubies or senior rubies. And one of them ranked up to an emerald right as I was starting to pay attention again. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you're kidding me. She, like, I cried when I saw that she ranked up to an emerald. I was like, I'm so excited for her. Oh my gosh. And she joined after me. And I just, it was just like, oh my gosh. And so I called Alita and I'm like, hey, did something change in the comp plan? Y'all, I literally had not even logged into my back office. Like, I didn't know. Like, I logged in the back office and I didn't even know where to look for anything. It was so crazy. So last January, I think my points were at 65 points a year ago, January. She's like, yeah, she's like, some things have changed in the comp plan. And she started telling me how we get points when people sign up with their welcome packs. And I was like, shut the front door. Are you kidding me? Really? And she started telling me about senior silver. And I was like, what? We didn't have that a few years ago. She's like, yes. And then fast start bone, and how fast start was every month now, not just the first 30 days. And I was like, you are kidding me. You people are just catching money as this flying out the window. What's going on? And so I was doing a business. And so I was like, well, I'll just dabble in Plexus a little bit just for some retirement money. Cause again, me and my husband's both self-employed. And so here's what I did. So this will resonate with a few of you. I would do my life and do my business. And then the last week of the month, I would think, oh no, I haven't signed anybody up this month. So I would go and sign up 5 or 6 people the last week of the month. And I would do that. And then I would not work my business at all or think about it for the next 3 weeks until it was the end of the month again. And then I would go, oh no, I haven't signed anybody up this month. I better go work my business. And then I would do the same thing again. So I did that for 3 or 4 months. And Alita asked me, she's like, what are you doing? And while I was gone, I will say this, Alita grew, my leader, Alita, not my friend, my leader, Alita, grew into such an amazing leader. She poured into herself and her own self-development. While I was gone, she blew me away when I came back. I was like, holy mess, who are you? Because she and I, it became so toxic for me. I had pulled myself away even from our friendship, guys. Like it was so toxic for me to be around Plexus at the time. And so here we came back, and now we've got this friendship again and this new leadership coaching relationship again. And she blew me away. I said, you are amazing. What have you done? Like, and she said, I'm invested in myself, and here's what we do. And again, power hours, Monday through Friday, right? So she's coaching me once a week. She and I are having one-on-one coaching, and she's asking me these hard questions. And she kept telling me, Becky, she kept saying, you are the only thing stopping you. And I don't know how many times she's told me that over the years, you were the only thing stopping you. I never really believed it until last year. And I realized, looking around, seeing the other people in Plexus, seeing my actual friends, people that I actually knew, I personally knew, these were not just faces out there, but people I personally knew that were ranking up, that were doing the things. I said, if they can do it, I can do it. And I am truly the only thing stopping me. So what is stopping me? So this is where I started having the really hard conversations with myself. And I said, you know what, Latoya, if you are going to overcome, and if you are going to, you have an opportunity, you have a business laying before you, that if you're willing to put forth the work and you're willing to do the hard things, you can make money in this. There is no way not to make money in this business. There's just not. It's not easy. It's very simple, but it's not easy, or everyone would do it. And this is the part where it gets hard, is because you can get to senior gold. You can get to ruby and senior ruby on your network and on your good looks alone. Okay. You can talk your way to that point. But at some point, you're going to have to work on what's in here and what's in here. And you're going to have to figure out how to care about people and love them. And I had been in sales. I had been in going out, hunting it, killing it, bringing it home, going out, hunting it, killing it, bringing it home. I had been in corporate sales, and I had not been in let me develop a relationship. Let me truly care about you. Let me bring you into my world, and you and, me into your world, and all of these things. I had not been into that place. And it took me a minute to figure out that that was part of my missing piece. I was okay to do all of that when it came to ministry and Jesus. But when I put on my business hat, for some reason, all that fell out the way. I don't know why.
That's something I have to point this out. I know you know this. I'm pointing out for everyone listening. There's this disconnect between your corporate sales experience, because even when you say, I came back after 4 years and at the end of the month, I would recruit 4 or 5 people. I know there's people on this call going, I don't remember the last time I recruited. Okay. So you always had your sales experience that made you a recruiter, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you said earlier, I had always had a lifelong dream of full-time ministry. And I think people keep those things so disconnected, because it's really hard for us to take a biblical worldview of ourselves as a child of God and leading others in the kingdom, and then also seeing ourselves as a businesswoman and an entrepreneur. And so we kind of divorce those two, and then we wear 2 different hats versus seeing the alignment, in those. And so I'm hearing it, like I can make that connection, but I'm curious, when you did the mindset work, how did you take your extreme love for the Lord and his people and unite it with yourself as a smart, savvy businesswoman?
Yeah. So it's funny because God actually even gave me some revelation on this, even at convention. So what I did, the end of so it was August. I want to give you guys the time frame on this, because this is how quick God can flip it. Once you get into alignment with his way, I'm glad you're kind of giving me the liberty to speak how I like to speak here, because I like to preach a little bit. Okay. So once you get into alignment with his way of doing things, okay, and you get out of your way, you get out of your own way and get humble before him and say, okay, God, whatever's in here, because that's what I mean. I was like, whatever this is, it's stopping me. It's only me stopping me. And every time I'm stopping me, all I'm doing is stopping me from being everything that God needs me to be for his kingdom, period. It has nothing to do with me, but it has to do with where he's positioned me to be for the kingdom. Right. So there was some lessons that I've learned. Number one, comparison is not the thief of joy. Comparison is the thief of identity. I want you to write that down if you're making some notes. Comparison is the thief of identity. Every single time you compare yourself with somebody else, you are saying, God, who you made me to be is not enough. You're saying, I need to be more like Sally, and I need to be more like Susie, and I need to be more like Jim. And really, God says, no, you need to be more like Christy and Sarah and Rebecca and Lisa. That's who you need to be, because that's who I made you to be. So quit comparing, because you're not them, you're you. So comparison is the thief of identity. It's not the thief of joy. You're saying, God, who you made me is not enough. And that's a lie. So stop doing that. Then once I decided, okay, I'm getting out of my own way, I said, okay, I'm going to put in the work on this. So what that looked like for me in that time period was August, September. I took 6 weeks, guys, and I said, I'm going to beat this into my head, whatever this is. I'm going to beat it out of my head. I'm going to beat it. I'm going to figure it out. And I started doing the hard thought work process, right? I started really taking thoughts captive, started looking at thought models, things like that. I did Power Hour. Our Power Hour on our team is mindset training every Monday through Friday. We get on at 9:20. We have 10 minutes of prayer. Then from 9:30 to 10 o'clock, we do mindset coaching. So it's, they're either talking about a book they've read, a podcast, something, but it's all around mindset. Okay. So I did that 5 days a week. I had one-on-one coaching with Alita once a week. I was in a group coaching with Alita that she was offering at the time once a week. And then Alita and Jennifer had done a group coaching offering once a week. So I was literally doing 8, if you count the Power Hours, I was doing 8 mindset coachings a week for 6 weeks, guys. That was rough. That was like, it makes me want to throw up thinking about it right now. It was so not fun. Yeah, it was a mindset boot camp. It was so not fun. But you know what started happening is little by little, tear by tear, vomit by vomit, like chains started breaking off. I started to recognize mindset patterns and thought patterns. And is this thought true? Is this thought serving me? Is this thought accurate? How can I change it? I started being honest with my coach. Hello. I started being honest with my upline. If I was struggling with something in the middle of the week, I didn't wait to my coaching call to let her know. I would text her and say, all right, girl, I just had this thought, like help walk me through this. And she would text me back and be like, all right, what about, ask yourself this, ask yourself that. And we would text back and forth and I'd be like, okay, I got it. Thank you. And I mean, I did not wait. I wanted to get this stuff out because I knew the faster I could get out this infection that had literally been stopping me my entire life, I could move forward. I knew that I could once I got this out of the way, because it was just the enemy's way of stopping me and keeping me back. Right. So as I did that, those 6 weeks, as soon as those 6 weeks were over and I'm having all of these epiphanies, right, I had a runner come along. I had the weird unicorn that shows up. Right. And it was because I reached out. I did a scary reach out and I was bold and I was confident and I could tell you all of the, the business things I said, but you've all heard them before. The thing is, when she came along, I was ready for her because I had done the hard work. If she would have come along a week, 2 weeks, 6 weeks earlier, I would not have been ready for her. I would not have coached her the way that I did. I would not have handled her the way that I did. And she probably would not have seen the success, and neither would I have seen that success during that time. So she came in, and when she came in, I was ready to roll. And I mean, she fast started. She fast started Ruby. Yeah, she fast started Ruby in 1 month.
Wow. You told me this when we were voice texting back and forth. I want to jump in really quick, because I know who's on this call and I know how their brains think. And I know that some people just went, oh, well, she got a rock star. And then they check out. And I want to go back to the crucial part of,
don't check out, because I can tell you some more valleys that come along right
I
after
was going to say, right?
Like,
if you have someone fast start Ruby, get ready, hold your breath. You're about to have some valleys. That's just the way this business works. Okay. But I want to be careful, because I think if we're not paying attention, you were able to recruit someone like this because you had done the mindset boot camp. And somebody just asked, who does mindset boot camp? We're just calling it that. We're saying that Latoya spent on her initiative. No one held a gun to her head and said, you better be on these calls. She went and pursued this many hours of mindset work per week. Okay. And this is things I'm just going to tell you right now. You need to tell me in the chat if you see mindset work as income producing or not, because I do think that's an issue for a lot of people. They say, well, I've been doing my IPA, but then they haven't done anything for their mindset. And I don't mean listening to a call. Listening to a call is not mindset work. Latoya is saying that she was on coaching sessions where she showed up and did her work and took her thoughts captive. And when one showed up that was out of alignment, she prayed, she sought the help of her upline, she asked for help. So that's like, I can't even stress, Latoya, I was a therapist before Plexus. I can't even stress how crucial it is. And that is what enabled you to recruit someone. Did you tell me it was your pastor's wife?
Yeah.
Okay. So you recruited her and you said she's a unicorn. So I'm sure she's a go-getter. She does what she's told. She jumps in, she's brave, she's bold, she's all those things. By the way, I think unicorns follow unicorns. So I actually think you are a unicorn, which is the whole reason I wanted to interview you, because I think you coming back and doing this work is something that 1% of the population does. I really think you are the unicorn. But tell me, okay, so she goes fast start Ruby. How does that feel to you? And then what are you prepared for after that happens?
Yeah, so she went fast start Ruby. So when I hit Ruby, the morning after I hit Ruby, I woke up and I hit Ruby, senior Ruby. So I said it's senior gold for 7 years, y'all. 7 years at senior gold. Okay. So 7 years. So I went Ruby and senior Ruby in the same month. Which was amazing. And the morning after I hit Ruby, though, I woke up and all of a sudden I felt the weight of that on me from a leadership standpoint. And I said, oh my gosh, I've got more people on my team than we have sitting in our church on a Sunday morning. And that's when that's when it all went. Ching. That's when I realized, because I said, it just gives me chills right now. I've got the opportunity to pour into hundreds of people and their families and their belief and their generations. Like, I have the opportunity to empower women to be entrepreneurs, to be, we were praying about this morning on our power hour, what the Lord showed me this weekend at the beach was just, Plexus, people come to us because they think they're buying vitamins, or they may come to us for the business. But really, if we're doing our teams right, and I'm not sure what your team culture is, but I'm assuming it's pretty good. You got all these people in here in the middle of the afternoon. If we're doing our team culture right, and we're doing this ministry, business, life thing right, what they're actually getting when they come to us is they're getting a community. They're getting healing. They're getting mindset coaching. They're getting, identity. They are getting, husbands are getting wives that haven't been confident before. Kids are getting moms that are holding their heads high for the first time. I mean, you've got life-changing things in your hands. This is not about vitamins. This is not about supplements. This is not about losing 10 pounds. Once you understand that this is more than just a product, that you are literally changing people's lives for generations, that's when this whole other level comes to it. And you realize, you know what, I have to do this mindset work, because guess what? You thought you were getting into Plexus for supplements, but really your job just became to be a mindset coach yourself. You just took on the job of being a leadership mindset coach yourself, of being a Miss John Maxwell yourself. That's what you just took on the responsibility of. Really. I mean, if you're going to grow your business to that point. Now, there are some diamonds out there that don't have that mentality. And yes, they make the money and whatever, but they don't have the culture that you want on your team, right? They don't have the culture. They don't have the camaraderie. They don't have the empowerment. They're not affecting nations. Like, I have a passion for ministry. I want to attract people that want to be in full-time ministry to my team. Like, that is my heart passion. I leave for Kenya in 3 weeks. I just got back from doing a week of evangelism at Bonnaroo. Do you know how amazing it was for me to be able to go and to minister at Bonnaroo and not have to worry about employees screwing something up while I'm gone, and to not have to come back and be under a mountain of emails for a week? Do you know how amazing it was to go and minister at Bonnaroo and still be making money? Guys, that's kingdom. That is kingdom. I shouldn't have to beg, borrow, and steal to be able to go and spread the gospel. I don't want to have to get somewhere and be ready to preach and have to worry about what I feel like the Lord has laid on my heart to share at a congregation or a conference or a retreat. And I have to, well, what if they don't invite me back? Or what if I don't get a big offering? Guess what? What if I'm making enough money where it doesn't matter and I can just be who Jesus tells me to be? Wouldn't that be a novel idea?
So tell me, you wake up, you've gone Ruby, senior Ruby in 1 month. You realize you've got all these people on your team. I want to clarify for those of y'all that hopped on late. Latoya came back in January of 2021, and she said she had, what'd you say, 67 points?
60 or 65, something like that, yeah.
Like 65 points in her virtual office, and she hadn't opened her VO up in years. So we're talking, it was, and what month did you go Emerald?
March.
Okay.
So
March
a year,
2022. Yeah. Okay. So 2021 is all about re-entry, self-preparation, growth, and then actually, finally, leadership.
Yeah.
Because you're leading all of these team members. Tell us about that growth from Ruby, Senior Ruby to Emerald.
So yes, I mean, once we hit Ruby and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is all leadership. Like everything came into alignment. So that's when I'm like, okay, my ministry is Hope, Identity, Freedom. And I started like, that's our team, Hope, Identity, Freedom. That's our culture. Like that's what we're going after. And I started driving that home and pouring into my girls in that way. Trying to build that community and to build that culture in that way. And so, again, we have definitely faced different challenges. Having a unicorn on your team creates different challenges for sure. Thank God, thank you, Jesus, that I had Project Broadcast in place before she came along. If you're expecting growth and preparing for growth, get you Project Broadcast. I'm just going to say that and lay that out there because you will need something in place to help coach all these people in their products really, really fast. So, I mean, it's been interesting. So I will say this, every single layer that you hit, you will hit different leadership lids at every turn. From Ruby to Emerald was a natural progression. It didn't feel forced. It didn't feel stretched. So I hit Ruby in November, and Ruby Senior Ruby in November, and then I hit Emerald in March, and it was very natural. It was very natural. Leaders retreat was very surreal going there. And it was the first time I had ever had people on my team at leaders retreat. It was my 4th leaders retreat that I'd earned, but it was the first time I'd ever had people on my team there. So that was really neat. Things like that, the shopping spree, like that was crazy. Like I busted out crying when I walked in Bloomingdale's because I was just overwhelmed. I still kind of chug up thinking about it because I was like, oh my gosh, like I made it. Like this is, I can't believe I'm standing here, and I made my husband, it's so funny. I just always have to tell this because I packed an extra suitcase because you're going on a shopping spree. And this is what I bought. So I made my husband fly home with an empty suitcase. But anyway, but that's okay. People kept going, well, you're going to get a diamond bracelet when you hit diamond. I'm like, I don't see a problem in owning 2. But anyway, that was a natural progression. But then I hit Emerald and my brain stopped. I hit another lid because I thought, oh my gosh, I'm Emerald. Now what do I do? Like I completely froze, guys. I'm not even going to lie. That's the first time I've said it publicly. I froze. I had a total, I did not know what to do because now all of a sudden nothing changed. All that changed was my title in the back office. That was all that technically changed. And the date on the calendar went from the end of the month to the beginning of, that was all that technically changed. But in my mind, I freaked out and I shut down for 3 weeks. Like I completely shut down. I did not know what to do. And my team felt it and I felt it. And so it probably took me a good month or so to pull out of that, maybe a month and a half to pull out of that. I feel like I'm really just now totally clicked out of that and back on my game and running and going again. So it's interesting, but here's what I've learned is through all of the mindset growth last year, is that we never stop growing. We're never going to reach that pinnacle. I think when you keep your vision in focus, right? And my vision is to be able to do whatever God asked for me to do, period. Whatever that looks like. If he says, I need you to go to Kenya, I go to Kenya. If he says, whatever. I want to be able to do whatever he asked of me to do. And I want to be financially ready to do that. So if that's my goal, then my goal is not a rank, right? My goal is that vision. And my goal, my team, my vision for my team is, I actually have it on my wall here. And this is what I tell my team all the time. And this is what I want to read this to you guys real fast. And because I want you to see, this is more than a rank. It's more than a dollar amount. And this is where, when you bump up against these leadership lids, these mindset lids, these are the things you have to remind yourself of, because these are the reasons why you're going to push through, because you are going to hit lids. Okay. I've got very, very good friends that are diamonds and diamond double diamonds and everything else in this company, because I've been in it so long, and I've got really, really good friends there, and they still hit these lids. They still have these doubts. Okay. And you have to know that your purpose is bigger than a rank, because you are not your rank. I know everybody says that, but you're not. You are so not your rank. Okay. You're not your rank. You're not your points in your back office. But what you are is a child of God. What you are is called with a purpose. What you are is a difference maker. What you are is a hope dealer. What you are is you are made with vision. That's what you are. And every single time you stop yourself, you're limiting who that person is created to be. You're limiting who Sarah and Christy and Rebecca and Lisa are created to be. That's all I can say right now. But that's who you're created to be. And so you're limiting that every single time you stop yourself. So here's what I have written on my wall, and I read this to my team all the time. It says, I was put on this earth to make an impact. I love and I serve with passion and integrity. I boldly proclaim Jesus. My desire is to raise the standard of how we do business. It's more than profits. We bring others up. I'm authentic, real, and valuable. We minister hope, identity, and freedom to those on our team to affect the world around us. We are building stronger kingdom, community, families, marriages, and generations. We are developing leaders. Our leaders develop leaders. We have hard conversations. We do the work. We see the fruit. We see in others what they don't yet see in themselves, and we help them to find it. We empower, encourage, uplift, and promote with pride in our work, knowing the one who blesses our hands. That's what we do. So when we begin to operate from that place, that's how this whole ministry, I have, like I said, there's people on our team that are in ministry, and they say, I struggle with the whole Jesus, Plexus, business, wife, mom, whatever thing. And I'm like, no, there is no separation, guys. Lydia in the Bible, there's a Lydia anointing that what we were talking about at convention. And Lydia in the Bible was a businesswoman, and she she sold purple scarlet material, very expensive. Okay. She was also very smart, very wise. She advised the church. She opened up her home for the church. People stayed there, and she gave advice, and she was a smart businesswoman. Okay. So I had somebody tell me the week before convention, when I was at Bonnaroo, they said the Lydia anointing is what they had prayed over me. And so I had to go and look up Lydia, because I just really wasn't sure who she was. I was like, oh, who's this Lydia chick? Okay. So I went and looked her up, and I'm like, yes. And the more and more I thought about it, I'm like, yes, like we have nothing to hang our heads about, guys. We have nothing to hang our heads about. It is 100% okay to be a confident, godly, smart businesswoman. We do business right in Plexus. We have a company we can be extremely proud of. We have a community we can be extremely proud of, a product we can be proud of. Our comp plan is next to nothing. Okay. Like there is nothing out there like our comp plan. We have every reason to hold our head very high and say, yes, I am a network marketer. I make money in Plexus. This is what I do. I lift others up. I serve and love well. I change families for generations. They're not just joining. And I tell people, you're not just joining a team. You're not just buying products. You are coming into a family and a community. Your entire life is going to change because you've come onto this team. That's what's about to happen to you. And that's what we get to give people, guys. This is not just any other job. And so know that and take pride in that. And that's how you marry this whole thing. That's how we are the hands and feet of Jesus in this business. Okay, I'm gonna shut up.
No, you don't, please.
Yeah.
I love that.